Have you ever felt like your heart was shattered into a million pieces, each fragment carrying the weight of betrayal? Imagine this. You trusted someone deeply, shared your dreams and vulnerabilities, only to have them hurt you in ways that left scars. Now, months or even years later, their name still lingers in your mind, their actions replaying in your thoughts like an endless loop. Why does it feel so hard to let go? And more importantly, how do we heal when forgiveness feels impossible? Before we begin, tell me, where are you listening from, and what time is it there? Today, we're diving deep into this question: how to forget someone who hurt you through the lens of Carl Jung, one of psychology's most profound thinkers. His ideas about the unconscious mind, shadow work, and individuation offer powerful tools for understanding not just why forgetting is difficult, but also how we can transform pain into growth. Let me start with a story. A few years ago, I met Sarah, a close friend, who had gone through a devastating breakup. She told me she couldn't stop thinking about her ex-partner, despite knowing all the reasons their relationship was toxic. Every time she tried to move on, memories would flood back, and anger or sadness would take over. "It's like he's still here," she said, pointing to her chest, "even though I know he's gone." Sarah's struggle resonated with something Jung once wrote: "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." What if what holds us back isn't just the person who hurt us, but the parts of ourselves we haven't yet understood? The shadow within. To begin unraveling this mystery, let's talk about one of Jung's most famous concepts: the shadow. The shadow represents the hidden aspects of ourselves, the emotions, desires, and impulses we repress because they don't align with our idealized self-image. When someone hurts us, it often triggers these buried parts of ourselves, forcing us to confront feelings we'd rather ignore. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how certain people seem to push your buttons in ways no one else can? It's not always about them, it's about what they reflect in you. For example, Sarah realized that her ex-partner reminded her of her father, whose emotional unavailability had shaped much of her childhood. Her inability to let go wasn't just about him, it was tied to unresolved wounds from her past. Jung believed that true healing begins when we acknowledge these shadows instead of running from them. He called this process shadow integration. But how do we integrate something as painful as betrayal or abandonment? Let's explore that step by step. Step 1. Acknowledge your pain without judgment. The first step toward letting go is allowing yourself to feel. This might sound simple, but it's incredibly challenging. Often, we try to suppress our emotions because they're uncomfortable. We distract ourselves with work, social media, or even new relationships. Yet, as Jung pointed out, ignoring pain doesn't erase it, it buries it deeper, where it festers. Imagine holding a hot coal in your hand. You wouldn't want to keep it there, right? So why do we cling to resentment and hurt long after the initial wound has occurred? Because somewhere inside, we believe it protects us. Maybe we think staying angry will prevent future betrayals, or perhaps we fear that forgiving means condoning what happened. But here's the truth. Forgiveness isn't about excusing bad behavior. It's about freeing yourself from the chains of bitterness. Start by journaling or talking to a trusted friend about how you feel. Write letters to the person who hurt you, even if you never send them. Give yourself permission to cry, scream, or sit quietly with your discomfort. Remember, it's okay to be human. Step 2. Identify patterns and triggers. Once you've acknowledged your pain, the next step is identifying patterns. Jung emphasized the importance of recognizing recurring themes in our lives. If you find yourself repeatedly attracting partners who hurt you or friends who disappoint you, it's worth asking, what am I unconsciously seeking? Take Sarah, for instance. After reflecting on her past relationships, she noticed a pattern. She tended to gravitate toward emotionally distant men, hoping to fix them. Deep down, she wanted validation to prove that she was worthy of love. But every time she failed, the rejection reinforced her insecurities. Does this sound familiar? Many of us carry unresolved wounds from childhood or previous experiences that shape our choices without us realizing it. By becoming aware of these patterns, we gain power over them. Ask yourself, what need am I trying to fulfill through this person? Is it security, acceptance, or something else entirely? Step 3. Embrace self. Reflection. Now comes the hardest part, turning inward. Jung believed that personal growth requires confronting the darkest corners of our psyche. He called this journey individuation, the process of becoming whole by integrating both light and dark aspects of ourselves. For Sarah, This meant exploring her own fears of abandonment. Through therapy and introspection, she discovered that her obsession with her ex stemmed from a deeper fear of being alone. Once she addressed this fear, she began to see him less as a source of pain and more as a mirror reflecting her inner struggles. Self-reflection takes courage. It means sitting with questions that have no easy answers. Who am I without this person? What lessons did this experience teach me? How can I use this pain to become stronger? Real-life application. Finding meaning in suffering. Let's pause for a moment and consider a real-life example. Think about Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist who famously said, "Suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds meaning." While Frankl's philosophy differs from Jung's, they share a common thread. Suffering can lead to transformation if approached with intention. Imagine applying this mindset to your situation. Instead of viewing the person who hurt you as a villain, ask yourself, what lesson did they bring into my life? Perhaps they taught you resilience, patience, or the importance of setting boundaries. Or maybe they showed you what you truly deserve in a relationship. By reframing the narrative, you shift from victimhood to empowerment. You reclaim control over your story, transforming pain into purpose. The power of symbolism. Jung also placed great emphasis on symbols and archetypes, universal images and themes that resonate across cultures. These symbols can serve as bridges between our conscious and unconscious minds, helping us access deeper truths. Consider creating your own symbolic ritual to mark the end of this chapter in your life. Sarah, for example, wrote down everything she wanted to release: anger, guilt. Regretand burned the paper in a small ceremony. Watching the flames consume her words felt cathartic, like closing a door she'd kept open for too long. What symbol could represent closure for you? It could be planting a tree, painting a picture, or simply lighting a candle. The act itself matters less than the intention behind it. We've covered a lot so far: acknowledging pain, identifying patterns, embracing self-reflection, finding meaning, and using symbolism. But this is just the beginning of the journey. Healing isn't linear. It's messy, unpredictable, and deeply personal. And while Carl Jung provides valuable insights, ultimately, the path to wholeness lies within you. Before we continue, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever struggled to let go of someone who hurt you? What strategies helped you heal? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who might benefit from hearing these ideas. In the next part of this series, we'll delve deeper into practical exercises inspired by Jungian psychology to help you move forward. Until then, remember, you are stronger than you think, and healing is always possible.